and we are joined by Mike Petraglia, my man Tregs, here of CLNSCincy.com. What's up?
James, it's good to be here. I've been looking forward to this. Marisa, Jacob, how you doing?
Good. Is it early enough for you?
Okay, I'm not going to lie. Do you see this? See this, everybody? There's a reason.
Vodka?
No, it's non-alcoholic. It is not.
It's coffee.
It's not soda. It is definitely a strong caffeinated beverage. Yes, it's coffee.
We need to get you a first word mug.
We do.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Would you?
It's doable.
Next time you're in here, we'll make sure we have one.
And you can break it in the media room like you break everything else of mine with the Bengals?
Do I break everything of yours
Yes.
in the media?
You
Are we pushing
do.
Reds for just James talk right now?
I get him so riled up. I get him so riled up that he breaks things in the media room.
Both do, but yeah.
Including the Cincinnati Reds that have been broken since May 1st, 15-27. They lose 9-1 yesterday. You were there.
So I think what's missing with the Reds,
Talent?
no, I think attitude. I think they do have enough talent. I really do. I think that this team could really put it all together. You've mentioned the pitching in the last segment. I think the pitching is there, especially when Hunter Green comes back. I just, for instance, yesterday against the Mets, Nick Lodolo needs to be tougher and stronger than giving up 11 hits. Even he, in the post-game news conference, James, admitted that he's got to find a way to stop the bleeding. He's got to find a way to stop getting singled to death.
Yeah.
Well,
11 hits is a lot.
11 hits is a lot. And you know what that tells me? A lot of batters in the batter's box are too comfortable. And the reason I asked him that pitch about the back foot slider, which is one of Lodolo's trademark pitches, is when he was going well the last couple of years, loves to make guys uncomfortable in the batter's box. Cincinnati pitchers, James, do not make the opponents uncomfortable in the batter's box. Yes, they only had 5 singles yesterday. I heard you guys, or 5 hits yesterday, and mostly from the bottom of the order. But the Reds have to find some toughness in their pitching staff. They just do.
It's not just the starters that have been a problem so far. The bullpen has been ravaged by injuries, but also unable to hold on to leads. What's the change or optimism in that bullpen with not a lot of arms in the minor leagues?
So I've talked a lot about this in the press box and talked with a lot of my colleagues about this and gotten fired up about it. The starters have to go 6 to 7 innings. They have to be pushed. And the other night, it was interesting. Brady Singer got pulled out of a game that I believe he had a big lead, and he gets pulled out after 5 innings. And you already taxed the bullpen from the night before. Chase Burns was only able to go 5 innings. Brady Singer was only able to go 5 innings. Eventually, that is going to take a toll on your bullpen. And the Reds right now, it's well documented. Everybody knows that the Reds don't have Emilio Pagan. He'll be coming back soon. They're not going to have Graham Ashcraft until probably late August, maybe early September, if we're being realistic. So they've got to find a way to bridge that gap. And part of that is going to be Tony Santillan, who, God love him, he has come around. He's answered the bell. He's one of the guys I think the Reds could learn a lesson from in terms of his bulldog mentality. He's got that fire. I want to see more fire from not only the bullpen, but the rest of the team in general.
You hear that? Tony Santillan, dog.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Well, you talk about the necessary length for the starters there to take some pressure off the bullpen. In an 8-run loss last night, how big is it for a guy like Chris Paddock to come in and give 4 1/3 and keep the bullpen healthy for the rest of the stretch?
Well, ideally, he's signed to a major league contract. You're going to have him on the team pretty much to serve that role of innings eater when your starter cannot. You can't use Chris Paddock every single night, though. And, certainly he served a role yesterday in the game. But I think what the Reds are going to need, and I'm really curious to see how the Reds approach the trade deadline. They need at least 2 arms at the back end of that bullpen to really help with depth. They do, James. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're short on arms in the bullpen, and I think they need that more than anything else on the roster.
Dregs, you mentioned they need fire in this rotation and bullpen. Well, they need it in the lineup, too. I mean, 5 hits yesterday's game, not going to cut it, but when it comes to the leadoff spot for this Reds team, I mean, combined in that series against the Mets, they went 2 for 12 between Dunn and Arroyo. On the season, the Reds leadoff batters only batting 191. I know TJ Friedl was in that spot for a long time, but how do they figure it out at the top of this lineup?
It's a great question, Marisa. I think the thing the Reds are going to have to do, and Terry Francona is going to have to do, he's going to have to ride the hot hand. That's what they did with putting Blake Dunn up at the top of the order. I think he works out the best. He has the ability now. He's starting to mature as a player in his third major league stint. He's been optioned twice last year and the beginning of this year. I think he's starting to really figure things out, and he is fast. I mean, in terms of pure speed on the team, he might be the fastest, even faster than Ellie. Edwin Arroyo is certainly in that conversation, and he got a shot yesterday at the top of the order. I think what Terry Francona is going to do is I'm going to put the fastest guy at the top of the lineup, hope he gets on, and hope he can wreak havoc. That is really where Terry Francona and the Reds are with regard to their leadoff spot right now.
Man. Best done in Reds history?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not quite.
I tried. It's
not number 44
it's
from
a
a
narrative I've been
generation
pushing.
ago.
It really irks Jacob. It gets under his skin.
You talk about potentially riding the hot hand in the leadoff spot.
Yeah.
Is there any chance we see Ellie De La Cruz there when he comes back from the injured list?
No, I think they want their best hitter in the 2 or 3 spot. I mean, that's traditional baseball analytics, Jacob. You know that. And I think there is a part of Terry Francona that respects the best hitter mentality. And I think Ellie De La Cruz is not only your best hitter, he's your most dynamic player. And I think, like Ken Griffey Jr., you go down the roster of great players in Major League Baseball history, the 2 or 3 player in your batting order is probably where Ellie belongs.
A two-parter.
Yep.
First one's going to be a yes or no. So is the biggest need for the Reds right now bullpen?
Yes.
It is. Over lineup.
Over lineup?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No doubt.
All right. There you go. There's one. 2, should they be buyers at the deadline? They're 15 and 27 since May 1. They're 35 and 38 on the year.
As I like to do, James, I'm going to answer this conditionally.
Conditionally.
If they're going to be serious and be buyers to be buyers and go all in, yeah, they should be buyers.
Go all in.
Well, James, you've got 3 wild card spots. We saw what happened last year.
They remind me every day. They're only 3 games out. Them and everybody else in that out.
But that's the way they are. They're not going to catch the Milwaukee Brewers. Realistically,
oh yeah, they're 11 out.
They are, but there have been Reds teams in the past that have made a run. I mean, we go back to the 70s. 79 Reds were 10 games. I know I love to go back to the 70s.
The 70s.
You know,
yeah, with your music and your takes. Let's
yes,
go.
I do. But anyway, the Reds have the ability to make up a lot of ground if there weren't 4 teams in front of them. But they're not going to. We're talking mid to late June, they're not going to be able to leapfrog 4 teams, I don't think, and get to the top of the division. That's just not realistic at this point in time. So if they are still within shouting distance of that number 3 wild card, go for it and then get in and then hope Hunter Green finds that magic, becomes that dominant ace. Hunter Green and Chase Burns at the top of your rotation with Andrew Abbott after that. If they were ever able to get to the postseason, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think if they're going to get to the postseason, you like the rotation. Plus, the rotation is on paper. You feel good.
One other note I'd make about this: if you're going to be buyers, you know that there could be a labor situation next year, a labor stoppage. If you are recognizing that uncertainty next year, then go all in now and see how far you can go if you're within shouting distance. If you're 5-7 games back of that final wild card, then no, you protect your top prospects.
The only thing with that is it should have started in February or January or December. Like they should have added more. James,
I would have liked to have seen the Reds add some leadership here and add some guys in that clubhouse who can.
Schwarber's a leader.
Well, look what the Bengals have done. Okay.
I'm about to get the Bengals with you. We're about to do that. It's a perfect.
And it's a perfect bridge. But what the Bengals have done with the locker room is what I think the Reds should be doing. Mm-hmm. There are no voices in that Reds clubhouse to me that absolutely take over and command the clubhouse and kick some butt. And that's, I think, what the Reds kind of are really, truly missing above all of the talent. And that's why I started the segment by saying, yes, they could add some talent to this roster that I think would certainly help them. But in the end, I think it's really the leadership that is missing in that clubhouse, guys that can, really get the message across that, hey, there's some urgency here. And that's what I think the Reds need to really add.
My main man, Mike, you were there. We were sitting next to each other like we are now yesterday. Joe Burrow was talking for 25 minutes. Your biggest takeaway was?
Urgency. I think Joe Burrow realizes that he's got to be a meaner Joe. 1970s?
Meaner Joe.
Mean Joe Burrow. I love the way that lines up for everybody who appreciates the 1970s and Mean Joe Green. But anyway, all seriousness, I think Joe Burrow has communicated to everybody inside the locker room and now outside that what happened the last couple of years is not going to be acceptable. And I think he is ready to take on the responsibility that comes with holding everybody accountable every single day. I think he has been certainly the leader in that locker room. I'm not here to insinuate that he hasn't done a good job being a leader up until this point, but I think he's going to try to be a different type of leader. Dan Pitcher talked about this as we were heading out the door and met with him, a couple of the beat writers, and Dan Pitcher was saying maybe he wasn't comfortable being that kind of leader the last couple of years, and maybe this is his growth in leadership, the next step he thinks he needs to take to deliver that message of urgency, and I think it's been really well received.
Part of that leadership throughout the offseason so far has been setting clear expectations for a team that's missed the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Right.
Earlier, he said the goal is to win a Super Bowl. Yesterday, he said he expects them to win every game. How does that kind of permeate through the locker room when the quarterback's making those kind of claims?
Jacob, after he said that, immediately after he said that is not to say I'm thinking about winning a Super Bowl right now. It's we've got to do a better job week to week, thinking about what do we have to do this week to put out our best product. And I think that is, pretty savvy of Joe Burrow to think in those terms, to let everybody know we can't think down the road. We can't think about what our expectations for the season need to be. We need to think about what we have to do to win this week's game. And I think that's a bit of a subtle change in terms of his mindset, and that's what I think he meant by that.
So, Triggs, you ask these guys, they know I'm a defensive girl. I love my defensive side. So I'm going to ask you a defensive question. We finally got to see some of the new acquisitions on the field Tuesday for minicamp. Give me just kind of what was your first impression and initial takeaways after seeing, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Cook, Jonathan Allen out there.
I know Dexter Lawrence is going to be a huge impact on that team. Obviously, leadership on the field, off the field, all of that. But I cannot wait to see how Brian Cook impacts that secondary, because obviously there were a lot of missed plays in the secondary last year, and maybe even the year before that. We'll go back that last couple of years. Brian Cook is a different kind of guy, and I love his attitude. I love his demeanor. He's friendly with us, but when he's on the field, he is, to use a term, a dog. I love using that term, James. You know I do.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you need more dogs. Less
You
cats.
do need more dogs. Less cats. But you need dogs on this defense, and Brian Cook is that. I think this unit is going to be much more cohesive, and I think it's going to take some of the pressure off three players, the two linebackers and Jordan Battle. Yes.
You hear that? Listen real close. You'll hear Geno Stone the wind of another missed tackle. If you listen real close right now.
The wind's really strong up in Buffalo, too.
Oh.
So he's going to get some help.
He's going to pull
in the
away.
new stadium.
That man is just gone. Good thing he's not on the roster anymore. I can still make the Geno Stone missed tackle jokes. You mentioned the linebackers.
Yeah.
Barrett Carter sat in this chair yesterday.
Yep.
He joined us in studio. I thought he presented himself well. I think you probably see his leadership. Where is your confidence level / expectation in these young linebackers?
So with Barrett Carter, and I remember him saying this early in OTAs, James, he's going to know where to be much sooner in the season. and he's going to have a much better idea going into games of what his specific responsibility is. He's going to be reading and reacting more. It's cliche, I get it. In football, you have to read and react the moment you think you're done. But he's going to be in a much more comfortable position of reading and reacting to the play. And I get the sense, I expect pretty big things from Barrett Carter in terms of quarterbacking the middle of that defense.
Would be huge. Would be huge if
I
he
agree.
can be that. That's the only potential weakness on this team. Because the defensive front, you said this, he said this for years in the press box. They're just too soft. They need to be tough.
They're
They're tougher in the trenches this year.
That's why Dexter Lawrence meant so much. Yes, he's one of the 3 best defensive tackles in football, arguably the best in terms of what he can do and how he can disrupt at the point of attack. But it's the leadership that he shows and the toughness that he brings to that defensive line. I love the addition of Jonathan Allen, too. He's up there in the years, a little long in the tooth. But if Jonathan Allen can rediscover some of that form that he had a couple of years ago, I believe with Washington, I think he can certainly be an impact on that Bengals defensive line. And both of them are going to help B.J. Hill. There's no doubt about that.